I'll be eating pretty soon, so it'll be okay.
Okay.
It'll be all right.
Well, Miguel, nice to meet you first
Likewise,
of all.
man.
I was just curious. I read, well, let me get straight to the core. What does your mother think of your lyrics?
My mother think of my lyrics. Oddly, she likes some of the songs that I didn't think she would like, but she absolutely doesn't like.
Yeah.
One of the songs that I knew she wouldn't like, but you know.
What kind of subjects you're most afraid to maybe expose to her?
Oh, I mean, anything having to do with sex. It's not really something you
talk to her.
I mean, growing up, my mother was very open about sex and how it works, you know, all that stuff. We had a pretty open relationship in conversating about that. It wasn't taboo. But she has a very specific view on when and where sex is appropriate, specifically after marriage. Mm-hmm. And because I'm not married and I'm talking about sex, she doesn't agree with it, which I respect, and so, you know.
Did you make peace with it?
I suppose she's had to just kind of ignore it, you know, to a certain degree.
When did you think maybe that, if I may generalize a little bit, that sex was an interesting subject for you to sing about in songs? Has it always been the case?
I've always, I guess, been fascinated by it, intrigued by it, and I don't know, I think it's one of the most vulnerable moments that you experience, you know, as a human being, and can be one of the most what is the word?
I'm not sure what you're trying to say, so I cannot help.
Yeah, one of the most, you know, I mean, it can be very special, you know, it can be very, very special. And within all that, there's an interesting conversation that is happening, and that dynamic creates for great lyrical content.
I agree with you there. Yeah, I mean, you're a young guy now, you got more and more fame. The intimacy of sex, is it has it changed for you maybe now, maybe from your artist point of view? Because I think you get a lot of attention, and some might be real and some might be for other reasons, but do you feel that?
I mean, everything, I suppose keeping all of that in mind helps maintain a balanced perspective on everything, you know. Knowing that a lot of people aren't there with any more intention than for their own, not necessarily self-validation, but some kind of gratification that is completely and utterly selfish, which is okay. It's okay. But not forgetting that is, I think, the key, you know. And sex, and I hate to say this cliche term, but like making love, are very different, you know. When it's just sex and it's just a physical act, it is a very selfish thing, you know, selfish thing. But when there is emotion involved, I mean, I don't believe in I'm not a make love kind of guy. That's not my thing. But I think there's moments in that exchange where it is making love, and then there's other times where it's not that, and it's very, you know.
So as an artist, you'd say maybe that you're more on the sex end of the spectrum than maybe the make love. What makes better lyrics? What fuels maybe better songs, do you think?
I think it's the dynamic of those polar opposites, you know. It is the juxtaposition of the instinctive and animalistic drive that makes it very physical and very selfish. But then that unavoidable emotional content that comes along with it, you know what I mean? And it is that juxtaposition that I think just is the most enticing and intriguing to me anyways. And I like to write about that because it is vulnerable and then it is egotistic at the same time. And for me, I think I like that exchange during intimacy, you know? I like that. I like power being exchanged, and you know what I'm saying? It makes it fun and interesting.